What if I told you that after 50, your hair isn't thinning because of age alone, but because of a few quiet nutrition mistakes almost no one talks about? And what if something as simple as the right nuts in your diet could help slow shedding, support regrowth, and strengthen hair from the root? Stay with me, because this is especially important for women over 50 who feel like their hair just isn't the same anymore. As we age, especially after menopause, estrogen drops and cortisol often rises. That hormonal shift can push more hair into the shedding phase. On top of that, nutrient absorption goes down, stress goes up, and blood flow to the scalp can decline. Hair follicles are very sensitive to all of this. They need minerals, healthy fats, and antioxidants to stay active. When they don't get them, hair becomes thinner, weaker, and starts falling out more easily. Let's talk about 4 nuts that can strongly support hair health in women over 50 when used correctly. First, walnuts. Walnuts are one of the best natural sources of omega-3 fatty acids. These fats reduce inflammation around the hair follicle and improve blood flow to the scalp. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching the hair root. Walnuts also contain biotin and copper, both of which help maintain hair color and strength. A small handful a few times a week can make a real difference over time. Next are almonds. Almonds are rich in vitamin E, which is a powerful antioxidant for the scalp. Vitamin E helps protect hair follicles from oxidative stress, one of the biggest hidden causes of thinning hair after 50. Almonds also support keratin production, the protein your hair is made of. When keratin production drops, hair becomes fragile and breaks easily. Soaked almonds can be even easier to digest and absorb. Third are Brazil nuts. These are incredibly rich in selenium, and selenium is critical for thyroid health. Many women over 50 have a sluggish thyroid without realizing it, and one of the first signs is hair thinning. Selenium helps activate thyroid hormones and protects hair follicles from damage. The key here is moderation. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day is enough. More is not better. Fourth are hazelnuts. Hazelnuts contain a combination of healthy fats, B vitamins, and manganese, which support collagen formation and scalp health. Collagen helps anchor the hair in the follicle. When collagen weakens with age, hair sheds more easily. Hazelnuts quietly support that foundation from the inside. Now here's the part most people miss. While some nuts can support hair growth, there are also 4 that can quietly worsen hair fall if you're not careful, especially after 50. The first issue isn't always the nut itself, but how it's prepared. Roasted nuts cooked in vegetable oils can increase inflammation. Inflammation around the scalp restricts blood flow and stresses hair follicles. This can silently increase shedding over time. Another problem is peanuts. Peanuts are technically legumes, not nuts, and they're one of the most common food sensitivities. In sensitive individuals, peanuts can trigger low-grade inflammation that affects the gut. Poor gut health means poor nutrient absorption, and hair follicles are often the first to suffer when nutrients don't get through. Cashews can also be an issue for some women. Cashews are higher in carbohydrates and can spike insulin when eaten in large amounts. High insulin can indirectly increase androgen activity, which may worsen hair thinning in women who are already hormonally sensitive after menopause. Finally, excessive nut intake in general can be a problem. Nuts are healthy, but they're also calorie dense. Overeating them can contribute to weight gain and insulin resistance. Both of these are linked to increased hair shedding. Hair thrives in a low-inflammation, hormonally balanced environment. Here's the key takeaway. Hair regrowth after 50 is not about one magic food. It's about reducing inflammation, supporting hormones, improving circulation, and giving hair follicles the nutrients they need to stay active. When you choose the right nuts, in the right amounts, and avoid the ones that quietly work against you, you create a much better environment for thicker, stronger hair. If you found this helpful, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and share it with a woman who's struggling with hair thinning after 50. Sometimes small changes, done consistently, create the biggest results. After the age of 50, many women notice something unsettling. The ponytail feels thinner. The part looks wider. Hair seems to come out more easily when brushing or washing. Most people are told this is just aging, that it's normal and unavoidable, but that explanation is incomplete. Age itself doesn't cause hair loss. What really drives hair thinning after 50 is a combination of hormonal shifts, rising inflammation, slower circulation, and a gradual decline in nutrient absorption. When you understand this, hair loss stops feeling mysterious and starts to make sense. One of the biggest changes happening after 50 is the drop in estrogen. Estrogen plays a protective role for hair follicles. It helps keep hair in the growth phase longer and supports blood flow to the scalp. When estrogen declines during and after menopause, more hair follicles shift into the resting and shedding phase. This is why many women notice increased hair fall within a few years of menopause. It's not sudden damage. It's a slow shift in the hair growth cycle. At the same time, cortisol often rises. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and chronic stress becomes more common with age due to sleep changes, responsibilities, health concerns, and blood sugar instability. Elevated cortisol directly affects hair follicles. It shrinks them, reduces their energy supply, and pushes hair prematurely into shedding. Even if stress feels emotional or mental, the hair follicle experiences it as a physical signal to slow down growth. Inflammation is another silent driver. As we age, low-grade inflammation tends to increase, especially if the diet is high in processed foods, sugar, and damaged fats. Inflammation restricts blood flow to the scalp and interferes with nutrient delivery. Hair follicles are some of the most metabolically active structures in the body. They need constant nourishment. When inflammation is present, the body prioritizes vital organs over hair, so the scalp becomes underfed. Blood circulation itself also declines with age. The scalp has a dense network of tiny blood vessels that deliver oxygen, minerals, and amino acids to the hair root. When circulation weakens, follicles become less productive. Hair grows more slowly, strands become finer, and regrowth after shedding is delayed. This is why improving circulation is one of the most overlooked strategies for supporting hair after 50. Another major factor is nutrient absorption. Even if a woman eats well, the digestive system becomes less efficient over time. Stomach acid often decreases, which reduces the absorption of minerals like iron, zinc, magnesium, and copper. These minerals are essential for hair structure and follicle function. Low stomach acid also reduces protein digestion, and hair is made almost entirely of protein. Without proper breakdown and absorption, hair simply doesn't get what it needs to rebuild. Iron is especially important. Many women assume iron deficiency only affects younger women, but it's common after 50 as well. Low iron reduces oxygen delivery to hair follicles. Without oxygen, hair roots weaken. Zinc is another key mineral. It supports cell division in the hair follicle and helps regulate oil glands in the scalp. Zinc deficiency often shows up as increased shedding and slower regrowth. Biotin and other B vitamins also become harder to absorb with age. These vitamins are critical for keratin production, the protein that forms hair strands. When keratin production slows, hair becomes fragile and breaks more easily, making thinning look worse than it actually is. Then there's insulin resistance, which becomes more common after 50%. When insulin levels stay elevated, they can indirectly increase androgen activity. Androgens are hormones that can shrink hair follicles in genetically sensitive areas of the scalp. This is one reason some women develop a more male pattern style of thinning after menopause, even if they never experienced it earlier in life. Gut health ties all of this together. The gut is where nutrients are absorbed and inflammation often begins. If the gut lining is irritated or inflamed, nutrient absorption drops even further. Food sensitivities, antibiotics, and long-term stress can all damage gut health. When the gut struggles, hair often reflects it quickly because hair growth is not essential for survival. Another overlooked factor is oxidative stress. With age, the body accumulates more free radical damage. Hair follicles are vulnerable to oxidative stress, which damages the cells responsible for producing new hair. Antioxidants become increasingly important after 50 to protect follicles and slow this damage. Sleep quality also plays a role. Poor sleep raises cortisol and reduces growth hormone release. Growth hormone helps repair tissues, including hair follicles. When sleep is disrupted, the body shifts into a repair deficit. Hair growth slows as a result. So when a woman over 50 experiences hair thinning, it's rarely one single issue. It's a combination of lower estrogen, higher cortisol, increased inflammation, reduced circulation, impaired nutrient absorption, and metabolic changes. The good news is that these factors are not fixed. They are responsive to diet, lifestyle, and targeted nutritional support. This is why focusing only on topical treatments often fails. Shampoos and serums may improve scalp appearance, but they don't correct the internal environment that hair follicles depend on. Hair regrowth starts from the inside by restoring balance to hormones, calming inflammation, improving blood flow, and supplying the right nutrients in a form the body can actually use. When these internal systems are supported, hair follicles can re-enter the growth phase and produce stronger, thicker strands. It takes time because hair grows slowly, but the follicles are remarkably resilient when given the right conditions. Understanding this changes the conversation around hair loss after 50. It's not about blaming age or accepting decline, it's about recognizing what the body is missing and what it's responding to. Hair is a messenger. When it starts thinning, it's signaling that something internally needs support. When you listen to that signal and address the root causes, hair health can improve at any age. When it comes to hair regrowth after 50, food can either work quietly for you or silently against you. And among foods, nuts play a unique role because they are dense in minerals, healthy fats, and antioxidants that directly affect hormones, circulation, and follicle strength. But this only works when the right nuts are eaten in the right way and the right amount. For women over 50, this distinction matters more than ever. Hair follicles are living, energy-demanding structures. They don't just need calories. They need specific nutrients that tell the follicle it's safe to grow. Certain nuts provide these signals very effectively because they contain fats that reduce inflammation, minerals that activate enzymes, and antioxidants that protect follicle cells from damage. Let's start with walnuts. Walnuts are one of the most powerful nuts for hair health, especially after menopause. They are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fat. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, and inflammation is one of the biggest enemies of hair follicles after 50. When inflammation is high, blood vessels constrict and nutrient delivery to the scalp drops. Omega-3s help relax blood vessels, improving circulation to the scalp so follicles receive more oxygen and nutrients. Walnuts also contain copper, a mineral that supports melanin production. Melanin is what gives hair its natural color. Low copper levels are linked not only to premature graying but also to weaker hair structure. Copper also helps with iron metabolism, which improves oxygen delivery to the hair root. In addition, walnuts provide biotin, a B vitamin essential for keratin production. Keratin is the protein that makes up hair strands. Without enough biotin, hair becomes brittle and prone to breakage, making thinning appear worse. Next are almonds. Almonds are especially valuable for women over 50 because they are one of the richest natural sources of vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant that protects cell membranes, including those of hair follicles. As we age, oxidative stress increases, and hair follicles are easily damaged by free radicals. Vitamin E helps neutralize that damage, keeping follicles functional longer. Almonds also support scalp hydration. A dry, tight scalp reduces flexibility around the follicle and can impair growth. The healthy fats in almonds help maintain scalp moisture. Stirrer and barrier function. Almonds also contain magnesium, which supports stress regulation. Chronic stress raises cortisol, and cortisol directly pushes hair into the shedding phase. By supporting magnesium levels, almonds indirectly help calm the stress response that affects hair growth. Soaking almonds before eating can improve mineral absorption, which is particularly important after 50 when digestion becomes less efficient. Better absorption means the nutrients actually reach the hair follicle instead of passing through unused. Brazil nuts play a very different but equally important role. Brazil nuts are one of the richest dietary sources of selenium. Selenium is critical for thyroid function, and thyroid health is closely linked to hair growth. Many women over 50 develop subtle thyroid dysfunction that goes undiagnosed. One of the earliest signs is hair thinning, especially at the outer eyebrows and scalp. Selenium helps convert thyroid hormone into its active form. Without enough selenium, thyroid hormones remain inactive, slowing metabolism throughout the body, including in hair follicles. Selenium is also a powerful antioxidant that protects follicles from oxidative damage. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day can meet selenium needs. More than that is unnecessary and can actually be counterproductive, so moderation is key. Hazelnuts are another nut that quietly supports hair regrowth. Hazelnuts provide a combination of healthy fats, vitamin E, B vitamins, and manganese. Manganese plays a role in collagen production. Collagen is essential for maintaining the structure of the scalp and anchoring hair follicles securely. As collagen production declines with age, hair can shed more easily even if the follicle itself is still healthy. Hazelnuts also support blood vessel health. Healthy blood vessels mean better nutrient delivery to the scalp. This becomes increasingly important after 50 when circulation naturally slows. By supporting vascular health, hazelnuts help maintain an environment where hair follicles can stay active. What makes these nuts particularly effective is how they work together. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, vitamin E protects follicles, selenium supports thyroid function, and minerals like copper and manganese support structure and circulation. This combination addresses multiple causes of hair thinning at the same time. However, the benefits only appear when nuts are consumed properly. Raw or dry roasted nuts without damaged oils are best. Nuts roasted in vegetable oils introduce oxidized fats that increase inflammation, undoing their benefits. Portion size also matters. A small handful is enough. Overeating nuts can raise calorie intake too high, leading to insulin resistance, which negatively affects hair growth. Timing can matter too. Eating nuts with meals improves fat-soluble vitamin absorption and helps stabilize blood sugar. Stable blood sugar means lower insulin spikes, which helps protect hair follicles from hormone-related thinning. Another important point is consistency. Hair growth is slow. It takes weeks for a follicle to respond and months to see visible changes. Eating these nuts occasionally won't create dramatic results. Regular intake over time creates a steady supply of nutrients that hair follicles depend on. It's also important to understand that nuts support hair regrowth indirectly. They don't force hair to grow. Instead, they improve the internal environment so hair follicles feel safe to stay in the growth phase. When inflammation is low, hormones are balanced, circulation is strong, and nutrients are available, follicles naturally do what they're designed to do. For women over 50, this approach is far more effective than chasing quick fixes. Hair regrowth is not about stimulation alone. It's about nourishment, protection, and balance. Nuts like walnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, and hazelnuts provide that foundation quietly and steadily. When used correctly, they become part of a larger strategy that supports not just hair, but overall health. And when the body becomes healthier internally, hair is often one of the first places that improvement starts to show. While certain nuts can strongly support hair health after 50, there's another side of the story that often goes unnoticed. Some nuts, or more accurately the way they are consumed, can quietly worsen hair fall. This doesn't happen overnight, and that's why many women never make the connection. The shedding seems gradual, subtle, and easy to blame on age or hormones. But in reality, these hidden dietary triggers can create inflammation, disrupt hormones, and interfere with nutrient absorption, all of which directly affect hair follicles. One of the biggest issues is how nuts are processed. Many nuts sold in stores are roasted at high temperatures in vegetable oils. These oils are often highly refined and unstable. When heated, they form oxidized fats that increase inflammation in the body. Inflammation doesn't always cause pain or obvious symptoms. It often shows up quietly as joint stiffness, digestive discomfort, or increased hair shedding. When inflammation rises, blood vessels supplying the scalp constrict, reducing oxygen and nutrient delivery to hair follicles. Over time, follicles become weaker and produce thinner strands. Another problem is flavored and heavily salted nuts. Excess sodium can affect circulation and fluid balance, while artificial flavorings can stress the liver. The liver plays a key role in hormone metabolism. If the liver becomes overburdened, estrogen clearance may slow, leading to hormone imbalances that affect hair growth. Hair follicles are extremely sensitive to hormonal fluctuations, especially after menopause. Peanuts are another major contributor to hidden hair fall. Although commonly grouped with nuts, peanuts are actually legumes. They are one of the most common food sensitivities, particularly in adults. Even without a full allergy, peanuts can trigger low-grade immune reactions in the gut. This creates intestinal inflammation, which interferes with nutrient absorption. Hair follicles depend on minerals like zinc, iron, and magnesium, When the gut is inflamed, these nutrients don't get absorbed efficiently, and hair is one of the first tissues to suffer. Peanuts are also more prone to mold contamination, which can introduce toxins into the body. These toxins stress the immune system and liver, increasing inflammation. The body responds by prioritizing detoxification and survival over hair growth. As a result, more hair follicles shift into the shedding phase. Cashews can also be problematic, especially when eaten in excess. Cashews are higher in carbohydrates compared to many other nuts. For women over 50, blood sugar regulation becomes more fragile. Eating large amounts of cashews can spike blood sugar and insulin levels. Chronically elevated insulin can indirectly increase androgen activity. Androgens can shrink hair follicles in genetically sensitive areas of the scalp, leading to thinning at the crown or part line. Cashews also contain compounds that can irritate the gut lining in sensitive individuals. This irritation may not cause noticeable digestive symptoms, but it can still impair nutrient absorption. Over time, this contributes to deficiencies that affect hair strength and growth. Another overlooked issue is nut quantity. Nuts are healthy, but they are also calorie dense. It's easy to eat far more than intended, especially when snacking mindlessly. Excess calorie intake can lead to weight gain. And insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is closely linked to hormonal imbalance and increased inflammation, both of which negatively impact hair follicles. Overeating nuts can also crowd out other important foods. If nuts replace protein-rich foods, vegetables, or mineral-rich foods, the diet becomes unbalanced. Hair requires amino acids from protein to build keratin. Without enough high-quality protein, hair growth slows regardless of how many healthy fats are consumed. Another quiet contributor to hair fall is the imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 fats. Many nuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fats are not bad, but when consumed in excess, without enough omega-3s, they promote inflammation. Modern diets already tend to be omega-6 heavy. Adding large amounts of certain nuts without balancing them can worsen this imbalance, increasing inflammatory signals that affect the scalp. Gut health once again plays a central role. If nuts are difficult to digest, they can ferment in the gut, feeding unwanted bacteria and creating gas and inflammation. This is more common after 50, when digestive enzymes decline. Poor digestion means nutrients pass through without being absorbed, and the immune system becomes more reactive. Another factor is phytates, naturally occurring compounds in nuts that can bind minerals like zinc and iron. In moderation, this isn't a problem, but when nuts are eaten in large amounts and not prepared properly, mineral absorption can be reduced. Soaking nuts can lower phytate content and improve mineral availability, which is especially helpful for women over 50. Stress eating also plays a role. Many women reach for nuts as a healthy snack during stressful moments, but chronic stress raises cortisol, and cortisol directly pushes hair follicles into the shedding phase. When stress is constant, even healthy foods can't fully counteract the hormonal effects on hair growth. The key point is not to fear nuts or eliminate them completely. The goal is awareness and balance. Choosing raw or dry roasted nuts without added oils, keeping portions moderate, rotating nut types, and paying attention to how the body responds can significantly reduce hidden hair fall triggers. For women over 50, hair loss is rarely caused by one obvious mistake. It's usually the result of small, repeated signals that tell the body to conserve energy and reduce non-essential functions like hair growth. Certain nut choices and habits can unknowingly send those signals. When those triggers are removed and replaced with supportive habits, hair follicles often respond positively. Shedding slows, strands become stronger, and regrowth becomes more noticeable over time. Hair is not just about beauty, it reflects internal balance. When the body feels safe, nourished, and calm, hair growth naturally follows.